I want to show you a feature of CalcPlot3D that I'll be using in class, which are called scripts and links. So throughout our notes, I'll be sharing notes that are called slides because that's what I use for in-class notes. On the overhead, I call them slides. Um, in those slides, which will be shared with you, there are links available for you to click on and that I'll be clicking on in class to show you different features of what I'm talking about in class. But it's also there for you after class to look at, or during class while we're talking, you can click and look at it as well. So some of them are just links, like this one. So if I just click on this, it will send me to CalcPlot3D and it will show the relevant graph that I'm discussing. And most of the time in class, I'll call these up after I've gone through an example or while I'm doing an example and show you what's going on. So some of them are just links. So let me go back to that slide. So there's several of them here. But notice this one's a little different. This one has a link, but it also says load script. This one is a link with no load script. And so the difference is sometimes the links that are created in CalcPlot3D are so large that they don't fit in the Microsoft Word only allows you a certain number of characters. So this one worked out okay, but this one turned out to be too large. And so what I've got here is a generic link. It'll take me to CalcPlot3D, but for me to access the graph that I wanted you to see, we have to get to it a different way. So it sends me to this generic page. And so the way I get that graph, now let's go back to where it came from. Notice this turns out to be in section 2.6, so up at the top. And this is example 1. I need to load that particular script. So I will send you all the scripts that I created for the class. And so what you do is you go on this menu bar and you go down to scripts and you load script. And then you navigate to where you saved. In this case, this is going to be quadratic surfaces. I'll send you a folder that has scripts in it. So for example, this is the slides, meaning that's that other page that I just got this link from, but all the scripts will be in a script file that I'll send to you. Now, this is example 1. That turns out to be the script that it told me I needed to go get. So you just do it again. Under that menu, go to scripts, and then you load a script. Now I've already got this one. And so what this calls up is a demo that I'm going to be using in class. Notice this is a script in the sense that it's going to go through several different embedded graphs and show me kind of an animation of what I'm going to be talking about in class. And this one in particular has 11 sets of graphs that are going to be pieced together to sort of describe what's going on. So you can see if I hit next, it'll take me to the next slide and the next slide and so on. So it all pieces together to where you're going to get some sort of graph. And this is something you can call up after class or during class, and you can, at each step, you can stop and kind of explore. You can create your own scripts, but that's kind of complicated, and I'm happy to show you. I'm not going to make a video on that, but for anyone who's ambitious and wants to do that, I'll be happy to walk you through that process. But these are useful. I mean, it's useful for you to be able to go back and look at them, and it's useful for me to be able to use them in class to show you the concept that we're trying to discuss. These are also, so it's throughout this sheet. If it says load script, you have that two-step process. Go to CalcPlot3D by clicking on that. It'll just get you a generic page, and then you have to navigate to where that script is. This one's fine. This one you just click on it directly, and it'll show you the graph that I wanted you to see. This one needs a script. This one doesn't. Most of them will need a script. It just turns out they get more and more complicated, and they're not just one simple graph. Even if they are simple graphs, sometimes there's too many settings I had to put into the graph that it requires a script. These are also in the homework. This particular homework in 2.6 doesn't have any because it's actually a section on graphing, but you can certainly, as this says, this is a very good resource for checking your work, especially in this one, because every time you draw a graph, you can just go to CalcPlot and plot that graph to see if you got the right graph. So some of the homeworks will actually have things linked where I've created some of the graphs relevant to the problem, especially when it's not just a graphing problem where you're using a graph or something. I'll sometimes provide the graph for you to kind of explore on your own. So the homeworks, the lecture slides, they will all be linked. And various graphs, maybe not everything, but a lot of graphs will be linked, and you can go to CalcPlot3D to look those over. Now, we're going to move on to showing you how to create your own graphs, and that'll be the next video.